watching AYV Television.
Good afternoon and welcome to this day here on AYV Television and radio on Channel 43 and FM 101.6. As always, this program takes a look at current issues across Sierra Leone. And I'm your host, Samuel Wise-Bangura. In today's edition, we are going to look at the controversy, the feud, the rancor within the National Progressive Democrats Party. I have with me in the studios Jesmed F. Suma, who is here to analyze and talk about the issues in the party. He's a founding member of the party. Good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Also for you, our viewers and listeners, we invited one of those, who is said to have been elected the flag bearership of the flag bearer of the party, who is Patrick Oduwaya. And he said he was going to be here, but unfortunately, he is yet to show up, and he sends a representative who is not up to the task, if I may put it. So you would definitely have the opportunity to be part of the program. Later, we shall be opening the phone line for you to call and make your contribution. So far, I only have Jesmed F. Suma to talk on the issues within the NPD, and we give equal opportunity to Patrick Oduwaya, who is supposed to have been here, but unfortunately he is not here. So we move on with the program. Now, Mr. Suma.
Yes, sir.
First off, let's look at what actually led to the formation of the NPD. How did it all come about?
Well, the NPD Party started as early back in 2012, 2013. After the unfortunate massive loss of a third party that some of us were hoping that was going to create an inroad between APC and SLPP, in this case PMDC. I felt disappointed about the state of politics in Sierra Leone. I looked at the geopolitical situation in the country, trying to identify what is it that is making it hard for third parties to win. And in my analysis, I realized that there are four major problems, and part of which has to do with the fact that those who established the new parties are people that emanate from the old political parties, from APC and SLPP. So as a result, they didn't present anything new to the voters. The second reason was the same way how APC and SLPP are divided by tribe and by region is the same way the other new parties are divided by region and by tribe. The third one, I realized that the internal structures of the party are not only undemocratic, they are not transparent, they are not accountable, they are not responsive to their members. So if you want a political party to have traction, you have to ensure that those who are part and parcel of the party have a stake in the decision-making process. So I noted all of these things down. The fourth one, I also realized that the new parties do not have an ideology. If you want people to follow a political party, it has to have a vision that inspires them. Just like those who led us to independence in different parts of Africa, they had a vision that people attached to. So I went on the drawing board, I drew a constitution with the sole focus of addressing those four major issues. In terms of addressing the regional balance of the party, I made sure that in my constitution...
The constitution you drafted, is it the constitution in use right now by the party?
Yes, that's the constitution that the NPD is using right now. So in the draft that I put down in the constitution I drafted, I made sure that I ensure that one, there is regional balance in terms of the founding of the party. I said we need to make sure that there are people from every district that constitutes the founding members of the party. Two, I realized that those who formed the previous parties, when they formed them, the people that formed them took control of the party and managed it as if it's their own personal fiefdom. And a political party is about the public, it's about the people. It shouldn't be about too few individuals controlling it. So I insisted that whatever executive we're going to set up that is going to manage the affairs of the party to registration is going to be temporary. So we need to call ourselves interim until we have a convention which is supposed to happen immediately after we get our certificate, to allow the public, the grassroots, to come and take over the party and move it forward. The fourth one, I started drawing the party philosophy and ideology. I sent out the constitution around asking for Sierra Leoneans to join forces with me so we can move and put the ideas into action. A friend, a gentleman, one called Dr. Andrew James Weimer, who hailed from Kailaun, saw a copy of the constitution. He was inspired by it. He called me and he says, look, I also have written a constitution that I want to also establish a political party. Can I join forces with you? I said, no problem. So we agreed to merge both constitutions. So we merged both constitutions that makes the NPD constitution. That's when we started recruiting. We recruited Wadi Williams, the one who is the interim chair right now. I recruited the former chairman, Almami Sila, and I recruited other people. So we came in. These are a group of 19 to 20 founding members who have been sacrificing their hard-earned money to establish the NPD party for 3 good years, three good years to 4 years. We're having conference calls every week, 2 to 3 hours every Saturday, every day, every week. We're having conference calls and pouring money into the party. It cost us over $57,000 to get the party registered. The question is, how did it happen to be up to $57,000? It's because, one, we have a principle of not to bribe, not to coerce, not to cajole anybody to go about getting our registration. And we had so many hurdles along the way. We had to pay for offices. Freetown office for 3 years, we're paying $5,000. Bow office, $2,500 a year for 3 years. McKinney office, $1,700 for 3 years. Kenima office, $1,650 for 3 years. We had staff in all of these offices. We equipped the offices.
Who was in charge to get those offices?
Yeah, we had most of us as the founding members called relatives and friends around to get these offices, and then we had an interim chairman, which was the late Mr. Almami Sila, may his soul rest in peace, and then we had Wadi Williams as the interim deputy chair. Wadi and Susan, they told us that they're moving to Sierra Leone. So instead of us giving the task to somebody else in Sierra Leone to do the task, since they are part of us, let's give them the task.
Are the relatives, Wadi and Susan?
Yeah, they are relatives. That's very important to note. They are relatives, and that's why it will reflect on the so-called convention that they held. Susan is Wadi's brother's wife. So they more or less together. So in other words, so we gave them the task of handling the registration process. And throughout this 3 or 4 years period, we have been the one making decisions for the party. We are financing the party, including Mr. Almami Sila.
Saying we, who are the we here?
The founding members.
Okay.
So, so we've done all of that, and we reached to the point of where we have to organize our convention. We are planning our convention, the same interim executive. We are planning our convention, and then we lost our chairman. So that delayed us for a while. Then we continued after the funeral of our chairman, and we realized that we are cash strapped. We were looking for people to help us. And then we were looking for people to come and join our party and help move us. So we had an interest. We started courting Dr. Kande Yumkela. We set a committee to try to appeal to him to come. But Patrick Odwaya says if he comes, he's going to challenge him, a whole lot of this. That's a different issue. I'm not going to talk about anything that has to do with the court. I'm focusing on what the role Patrick played in destroying the party. So any person that we come that has money, that has household name, that has credibility, that any political party is looking for, that comes in and wants to join our party, Patrick says he's going to challenge them. The reason why he says he's going to challenge them because our party constitution is clear. Article 20, subsection 1B or C of our party constitution says primary elections. It gives a list of different party officials, public officers for like councillors, like parliamentarians and flag bearer has to be elected through primary election. So he used that clause, that very clause, to challenge anybody that comes. But you have to imagine we were broke at that time, and we're looking for somebody with household name, has money, has popularity, and is ready to be with us. So nobody wants to come and put your money into a party and then they put a candidate to fight you, to challenge you. He says, I don't have time for that. So in the end, we lost those people because we didn't want to violate Patrick's right to contest for the leadership of the party. We respected his right and protected his right. Well, if you say all of us as founding members have given up any desire we may have to lead the party because we know that we may be able to win the election in a primary election, but we may not be able to win the general election. And it's not about us, it's about the party.
So let's go back to where Patrick is said to have been elected as the flag bearer for the National Progressive Democrats. 2 conventions were held, one in Rancour and another here in Freetown. Where were you, the founding members, when these conventions were being held?
Good. One, it is interesting. It will interest you to know that Patrick just joined our party a few months ago, just about a month or 2 before we got our certificate. This is after the founding members have struggled with the party for over 3 years, pouring money into it, trying to make it what it is today. So he came in, but our party constitution is clear. It doesn't matter how long you've been a member. You join in today, you have the rights to the constitution protected by the constitution. But those of us who have been struggling, knowing how struggle we've gone through, the vision that we had for the party and the people that want to come and alleviate, we placed our interests and our egos behind and put the interests of the party first and moving forward. So what happened was Patrick, after driving all of these people away that wanted to come and join the party because he's threatening to challenge them, he decided that he was going to run for the flag bearership of the party. Then we said, okay, let's organize a convention. But the convention we are planning to organize is one that follows the dictates of our constitution, that will ensure that every ward, every constituency, and every ward within the party from every district will have the rights to have representation at the convention. That is the people's power. They decide. That was a threat to Patrick Odwaya and his team and his colleague and his two conspirators, if I should put it. I'm not going to touch anything about the case. I'm not touching on that. I'm focusing on Patrick. Because of that, they felt threatened. They rushed in and created and formed the Kangaroo Convention in which they handpicked their own people that are going to coronate them. They got to that convention. The process was very undemocratic. They ended up with chaos. The very delegate that they brought in became very unhappy. The convention was not concluded. They found a way to reactivate it again a few days later. They held a second one in Freetown. And that again didn't go well because the very people that they connected were not happy about the process. So in the end, they found a way to machinate the process. Patrick financed the chairman and the so-called Secretary General. They met in a meeting and said, okay, let's hold a press conference. We're going to make you the flag bearer. Very ridiculous. Violating every little tenet of our constitution.
Let me remind my viewers and listeners that the program is visited here on AYV television and radio, and we're talking to Jesmed F. Suma, one of the founding members for the National Progressive Democrats, and we also invited Patrick Odwaya, who is said to have been elected or selected flag bearer of the party, but when we called him, he said it was 5 minutes away, only for somebody else to show up who is not equal to the task. So if you're wondering why Patrick is not here this afternoon, that is the reason. He did not show up. We invited him. He said it was 5 minutes away. But later on, we shall be opening the phone line. You shall call in and make your contributions known. Now, talking about calling a press conference, and Patrick was presented the flag bearer of the NPD. There is also this concept of a party, or some members of the party trying to hold another convention in November. These conventions upon conventions. Take us through the process. What is this other convention in November?
The founding members of the party, many of whom constitute the National Executive Committee, the Interim National Executive Committee, the body that has been making decisions right through the three years onto the registration and after registration, the body that has been financing the activities of the party, the bodies that have been making all the decisions that was actually planning a convention before Patrick's team came and just rushed up with a kangaroo one in Rancour. That body is having a convention, the same convention we've been planning, before the kangaroo one. We're continuing the planning process. We're having it in November 17th. And in that November 17th, following every dictate of our constitution, we're going to have every ward that is under the party from every district going to have representation at that convention. Patrick and his team, they are free to come and participate. They are members of the party. It is democracy. They shouldn't be afraid of the grassroots. Let the grassroots decide. When we were establishing the party, when we were putting down the groundwork, we made clear that those of us forming the party, we do not want to hold control of the party. We have to agree that we are not going to hold control of the party until the delegate decides. It's the delegate that is going to decide who is going to be what. So on that day, I, Jisme Suma, who initiated the first document, will be powerless. I will have no voice. I will have no power. I'm only actually serving at the behest of the interim executive. I have no power over any of the members. I cannot dictate to them because that's exactly what we wanted. We want the grassroots to be the one that have the power over us. So we serve at their own behest, and we want to give them that power on that convention day. Every district and every ward represented, they decide. If anybody, even you, if you join the party today, you go there and say, delegate, I want to be chairman, and you are able to convince them, you will be elected the chairman.
How is the flag bearer of your party determined?
The flag bearer of a party is determined, as I quoted earlier, Article 20, Section 1, Subsection 1, talks about primary election and listed all the different officials that are elected in the primary election. The flag bearer is one of it. But there is also the possibility for the delegates. As I said, the delegate has the ultimate power. The delegate convention is the ultimate decision-making body of the party. So if the delegates choose to say, because of extenuating circumstances, we, the delegate that has the power to make decision, hereby give ourselves the power to determine the flag bearer of the party now. But it has to be very stringent extenuating circumstances for them to be able to use that clause. And if they decide, they can make the decision at the convention. But according to our constitution, it's strictly primary election when the voters, the members of the party in every part of the country will have the opportunity of casting their vote. When we wrote the constitution, our anticipation was that our certificate will be delivered 2 years in advance prior to the 2018 election. Unfortunately, it got in like less than a year before the certificate. So that clause is difficult to practice now as regards the primary election. So the delegate might want to consider that option. Unfortunately, we, the leadership of the party, the interim executive, do not have the power to make that decision. That's exactly how we wanted it. We want the grassroots to be the one that has the power to make the decision, and that's the way we're going to do it.
So with this divide in the party, where are the founding members of the party? What are they saying?
Oh, the founding members of the party are mostly the ones constituting an interim national executive. They're the ones who are planning, the ones funding the party's activities. They're the ones planning everything that has been happening within the party. And they say, we have to allow the grassroots to take over the party. They said, it is our money, it is our time, it is our resources. We're not interested in leading the party, but we want the grassroots to be the one to take over the party, because once you have the grassroots taking over the party, having control of the party, from every district they have representation, you will hear about people from the north claiming they own NPD, people from the south claiming they own NPD, people from the east claiming they own NPD, people from western area claiming they own NPD, and that's exactly what we want. You can only do that when you create an open, democratic, fair and transparent convention and allow them to decide. We, the bosses, cannot do that.
This divide in the party at this particular point in time is threatening the existence of the party, with some members, claiming to or threatening to leave the party and join other movements, other political parties. Are you concerned as members?
That is a major concern. But luckily, we are trying to continue to keep touch with our members across the country. We have over 15,000 members in Kailaun. We have over 5,600 as of last week in Kenema. We have about 8,000 in Bo. We have 3,800 in Bunt. Moyamba, we are still trying to create an inroad. It's about 3,000 or so. Tonkolili district, we have over 5,700. Cambia district, we have over 9,000 members. No, not 9,000 members, about 7,600 members. And Port Loko district, I've still not gotten the full statistic of Port Loko, but we are over the 5,000 mark. Western area, we are getting a strong inroad. So imagine those numbers of members across the nation, and you having a convention, having few people go and make decisions and leaving out all of those members. So they are a little frustrated about this rancor within the party. But as of yesterday, we've started getting in touch with them. The ones in Waterloo invited us yesterday, and we had a very massive, very animated meeting yesterday, and they were very excited because they believe in the ideology of the NPD party. The thing that inspires them, the main thing that inspires our members, is the vision of the party. Anybody, even you, if you know the vision that NPD has for this nation, you will never turn your back to that party.
But if that vision is being undermined currently by some members of the party, how sure are you that what is being drafted in the document of the NPD will be implemented at the end of the day? With the power tussle?
Well, this is just part of the things you expect in any political party. It's just that we are naive in politics. We are not politicians. So we did not see the angle at which some folks were coming from. We're taking things at the face value. So we came with an open mind, trying to do politics as a battle of ideas, not tricksters and so on and so forth. So those are things we're going to be addressing. That is why we are not adopting any toggery as other parties attempt to do when they have divisions within them. We're seeking redress through the legal system because we trust our legal system to address those things, so that once you have a legal system that you have confidence in, you don't have to worry, because the facts of the case will decide it, and that's going to be resolved soon. And once it's resolved, the fire. You see, part of our color is gold. And as you know, the more heat you apply to gold, the more pure it becomes and the more stronger it be. And by the time we get out of this, we'll come out stronger and powerful.
The program is this day here on AYV Television, and ready to you, our viewers and listeners. You can now call on 025-271-959, 025-271-959, and make your contributions in the program. I have just met F. Suma, one of the founding members of the National Progressive Democrat, and I also invited Patrick Oduwaya, who is said to have been elected the flag bearer of the party, and for unknown reasons he's yet to be here. So you can call on 025-271-959, 025-271-959. The program is this day here on AYV Television and Radio. Now, whilst we await the calls, there's this allegation. Of course, you've mentioned earlier on that you were trying to reach people of like-minded, people who have the resources to help capacitate the party, and you mentioned Kande Yunkela. According to Patrick in our sister program here on AYV Television, he said you guys were trying to impose Kande Yunkela. In fact, you are a relative to Kande Yunkela, so you are trying to bring Kande and make him the... Okay, let's go answer this very first call. Hello, caller. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, caller. Okay, I am not getting that particular caller. Perhaps the technicians will have to do something. I am not getting the caller.
Hello?
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 Hello, caller. I was asking about you, the accusation of you imposing Kande Yunkela to be the flag bearer of the NPD.
I was not imposing anybody on the NPD party. The NPD party faced constraints. The lucky thing that is happening within our party, those of us that are founding members are not greedy for power. It's very unlike other political parties. Because we established the party to address the menacing problems of this nation, so we define certain criteria by which we're going to follow.
Let me hold you the adjustment. Hello, caller. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, caller. Okay, let me hold you there. Let's go for a short break and let the technicians work on this calling.
no matter how deprived you are, to showing your talent, to finding solutions, to celebrating, to exploring places, to thinking about the future of the world, even in a confused state. Listen to the call. The call to hope, to equality, to change, to unity, to development, to morality, to prosperity, to entertainment, to information, to reliability, to solution, to innovation.
Back, the show is this day here on AYV television and radio. I still have with me Jismed F. Suma, one of the founding members of the National Progressive Democrats, and to your viewers and listeners, you can now call on 025-271-959. 025-271-959. You were responding to the issue of Kandekole Yumkela.
Yes, I said the founding members came together. They said, we're expecting our certificate to be delivered 2 years in advance. Unfortunately, we finally got our certificate less than a year to the election. So let's re-examine our strategy and see what we can do to salvage the party, because winning this next election 2018 is not a compromise. We have to win. So we went back to the drawing board. We said we need a candidate that has 4 qualifications. 1, person that has a clean record, someone who has not been part and parcel of the corrupt establishment in this country. 2, someone who is a household name. You mention their name in a village, they will remember him immediately. Because elections is about numbers. 3, somebody that has a following. That not only people can remember the name, but they can feel part and parcel, be attached to the person, so that when we bring him to the NPD, we can, be able to capitalize on that numbers that the person has. The 4th one, somebody who has the money, because elections is about finance. We had a budget of $6.5 million. If we had our certificate 2 years in advance, we have our members who are ready to pump in that money. But it was going to be an installment within 2 years period. Some people put in $1,000, $500, and so on and so forth. So that was already in plan. But because they delayed our registration process to less than 1 year, so that became very unattainable. So we all agreed to that, and they gave me the task to go look for candidates. So we have a series of names to reach out to. So we started hunting Kane Yumkela. It took us a couple of months. He was rejecting us. He was not interested. He says, look, I am diehard SLPP. I'm going to leave SLPP. I'm going to die SLPP. So it reached a point I almost gave up. I said, this man is too, SLPP runs through his blood, so let's give up on him. After a while, my colleagues urged me again. That's when I came the second time. They said, try to go meet this guy, man. Let's find a way out. So went and met him, and he started giving us audience. And during that process, that was the time I got arrested. So Patrick was already with us then. I said, look, Patrick, you lead the team to negotiate with Kande and see how best you can bring him in. So he was part and parcel of that committee, negotiating, representing us. I was not even there. I was in Parembaro at that time. So it reached a point we lost our chairman. And at that meeting of our chairman, Patrick was the one who took upon himself, without consulting any of the executive members, and publicly invited and crowned Kande Yumkela to come to our party, to come lead the NPD party. To the annoyance to some people, because it was very unprofessional the way he did it. But at the same time, we said, okay, that's the way he wants to do stuff. He wants to be noticed anywhere he goes. Let's give him that. Little did we know he wanted to have that personal rapport with the man.
What do you mean by personal rapport?
Well, personal rapport in the sense that feeling like, oh, this is my key person I can always confer with if I want to go into the NPD party. You know, making like he's the key person to reach out to. I didn't mind that because my objective was to get the man in. I don't care how he comes in, because to save the party and move forward. All of a sudden, when that negotiation was going on, bang, Patrick jumped and flew to the state, set up a fundraising committee, started announcing that he is going to be the flag bearer of the NPD party. Without following the protocols, without following the dictates of our constitution. Our constitution says there is an electoral rules book. In that electoral rules book, it defines the guidelines that needs to be followed about leading the NPD party. Part of the guidelines require a background check on whoever wants to apply. You apply, they accept your application, they do a background check. If they don't see any bad record that is going to bring disrepute to the party, it is your right. Nobody can stop you. Then you can go and say, I'm going to be a flag bearer aspirant. He didn't do that. He went and raised money in the name of the party, and our party constitution says anybody who raised money in the name of the party must give an account to the treasurer. He failed to do that. And little did we know that he was being aided by APC operatives in Washington. Luckily, I had lived in Washington for over 15 years. I was there, so I know those who play the politics, the saloon politics in the Washington metro area. So I saw a couple of them energetic, forcefully raising money for Patrick. I said, that's raise a red flag. I said, this guy here, I know APC runs through his blood. There is no way that guy will be part of any group that is going to challenge APC except he has an interest. So the members questioned Patrick, what is your connection with these APC folks that are raising money for you in Washington? 3 weeks, he refused to answer us. Eventually, when he responded, he says, oh, well, these guys are my uncles. I was born and bred in Lonsar. I'm a Putlocker guy. So those guys are my uncles. What's wrong with having a relative who is APC? We said, no, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong for you to have a relative that is APC. There's nothing wrong to be a party of APC, in fact, and come to the NPD. We embrace everything. But there's something wrong if they are raising money for you. We have to be concerned. He couldn't respond. That's when they now diverted all the funds away from the party to organize their convention.
So the party did not organize the convention?
No, the party did not organize the convention. Individuals organized the convention. The funding for that convention, we didn't know about it. The treasurer did not know about it.
Those individuals are members of the interim executive, am I correct?
2 of them are members of the interim executive. So when Patrick was able to bankroll them, and you know, at times in life, you have people who are people with integrity. You have those who can be bought and sold at any time.
So as we speak, what is the current state of affairs of the NPD?
NPD is alive, kicking, and we are recruiting on a daily basis across the nation, organizing meetings in every part of the country. And yesterday we had a firing meeting in Waterloo, and that is continuing. But we still have this legal matter in court, which we are hoping that there's going to be some relief tomorrow. We don't know yet, because the facts are clear. The facts of the case are very clear. Very clear. So that's nothing we have to worry about.
The November convention turn around the decisions that were made in the previous conventions that have been held in both local.
Well, there is a difference between a fake and kangaroo convention and a real NPD convention. So I'm not going to legitimize that convention. To me, it did not take place. What we are organizing is the NPD convention, which is coming up November 17.
Labeling those conventions as kangaroo and fake, but now Patrick is presenting himself as the flag bearer of the party, and he's going around, galvanizing, seeking support.
Yes, just like we had Christ and we have fake prophets. You cannot say, well, because they are calling Christ's name or whatever, you can recognize them into the church. If they are fake, they are fake. They will still go and shout, hallelujah, hallelujah, Christ is my Lord. But if they are fake, they are fake. False prophet, the Bible says it. So in politics, you have those that are real, you have those that are fake. So those that are fake may come and go do what they are doing, but the real ones who knows their substance, they don't have to legitimize it.
How did Patrick become a member of the NPD? Because like you rightly mentioned earlier on that he joined the party 2 or 3 months prior to you getting the certificate from PPRC.
Yes, I recruited Patrick. He has known me before. I was president of the Alumni Association, the Alberta Academy Alumni Association. He admired my leadership in that association. And since then, he's been following me by his own admission. And he's admired me all along by his own admission. And last year when I came, we met in Wilkinson Road. And I told him I'm here to register a political party. He became excited. He says, man, I want to follow you. I want to be part of it. I said, no problem, my friend. Went to as many people as possible. I said, come in and let me give you a number, call that person, and you guys will work because I'm going back to the States. So that's how I came into the party.
The program is This Day here on AYV Television and Radio. We want to apologize to your viewers and listeners for not being able to pick your calls because we're having some technical issues here. But let's wrap up. Now, it's unfortunate Patrick didn't show up to actually respond to some of these claims that we are discussing here this afternoon. But so far, these founding members you said are the ones planning the November convention.
Mm-hmm.
Will Patrick be given a fair or equal opportunity to actually participate because he's a registered member of the party?
That is a brilliant question. I love and I thank you for asking it. We are pleading with Patrick and his team to come in with their delegate, with party's delegates, the ones that they've recruited. Our constitution says there is a membership director who is responsible according to Article 4, Section 2H. The membership director is the one responsible for entering, coordinating, and maintaining the database, membership database. So what they did leading to their kangaroo convention, they recruited from Putloko and some few places in Freetown and other areas without following the constitution, passing it on to the membership director to enter it in the party's database. They kept those to themselves and used those members to go organize the convention. So we are asking them, bring those members, put it in the party's database. Let's go to the convention, stand, contest, open, fair. We even hoping that PPRC and NEC can send representatives to monitor the fairness of it. All we want is the grassroots. We want the grassroots to have the power to decide. We cannot decide. That's what the Constitution says. It is owned by the grassroots. That convention is the day we're going to hand over the party to the grassroots. And that's what they are afraid of.
So those who elected Patrick and the others as, national officers.
They're not elected. They're appointed.
Those who...
Yes. Patrick was appointed at the press conference.
Those who served as delegate members during those conventions.
Okay.
They were not verified. Is that what you're saying?
They were not verified. They were not part of the party's database. They're not part of the party's database. Party does not know about them, but we are willing to welcome them. We are willing to bring them on. We're willing to have representative of Patrick, whoever has interest, PPRC representative. They go through the database. They certify, say this is the database. We all go and let's go to the delegates convention. Let the grassroots.
How many people have expressed interest in the flag bearership of the party?
We have 3 people, including Patrick, that have expressed interest in the flag bearership, and that's what Patrick is afraid of. So he bribed his way. They went and called a press conference and said, "Oh, Patrick is now a de facto flag bearer." He can't do that.
But does your party's constitution, provide a platform for
somebody to be coronated at a press conference?
Someone to be
coronated at a press conference?
Someone to be appointed as a flag bearer?
No, there is no provision.
Based on default.
There is no provision. Article 20, Section 1.1 makes it clear, primary election. If there is going to be any changes to that clause, the delegates are the one that has the power to do so. IG Smesuma do not have the power. founding members do not have the power. Members of the National Executive Committee do not have the power. It is the delegates, the grassroots, that has that power to make that decision.
According to Patrick, nobody, came up to contest against him. So
what they did after their kangaroo convention, they refused to accept any application. We did not, was the parties organizing their own convention, but from their own group, they even blocked other people from applying that wants to run for the leadership. So within their own group, they're even afraid of democracy.
So how would you, what confidence would you want to give to Sierra Leoneans that the NPD is a democratic party and the NPD is here to actually create the change it yearns for? Because what is happening is not new in the political arena in Sierra Leone.
Indeed, I'm glad you noted that. What is happening to NPD is not new. And in fact, one of the reasons why NPD has become a hot cake by the political class in this country is because NPD has a vision that is completely unique, that touches the heart of our people, that makes them inspired to the party. And we have a strategy that is not comparable to any political parties. And we have vision that is not comparable to any political parties. If they want to challenge us, let them invite us to a debate. Let the public listen to the kind of things that we are planning for the nation. That's what is scaring them. And that's why there's so much interest within the party. So our members know that, and some of them are knowing, the rest of them are knowing that. So NPD will come out of this stronger, powerful, and we are going into 2018 with a strong force.
Thank you very much, Jismet F. Suma, one of the founding members of the National Progressive Democrats. It's been a pleasure talking to you this afternoon.
Thank you, my friend.
And I also invited Patrick Odowaya, who said to have been elected flag bearer of the party, but he did not show up. The program has been this day here on AYV Television and Radio, and I've been your host, Samuel. Vice Bangura saying many thanks for watching and listening, and still apologizing for not taking comments through the phone-in session.
You're watching AYV Television.